Hello and welcome to the Point Blank, the program where we talk straight about the issues which are happening across the globe. Today, I have a very eminent guest with me. Imrans is basically a senior associate with Midston Studies and also a contributor to the Friday Times. Shimroz, welcome to the program. I know things are tough in Pakistan, and a lot has happened in last 2 days. Let's talk about the last 2 days, what has happened in Pakistan. We have seen in Pakistan is something we call unprecedented. People say that yes, when Bhutto was hanged, there was a lot of violence and there was a lot of anger. But the kind of anger we have seen again, the army establishment this time in Pakistan, I think is unprecedented for a very long time. In recent history, I don't think people have come out so overwhelmingly against the Pakistani army and attacked its establishments and taken them on, held on. So how do you sum up the whole thing? I mean, what do you see that why is it that people have been so overwhelmingly opposing the army? We have seen footages coming from Pakistan. We have seen people, sloganeering against Pakistan. If it would have been a political fight, people would have been seeing ransacking more of PMNL or PPP installations, talking bad about politicians, but it's the army which is at the forefront. So what's gone wrong in Pakistan with the army?
Starting with what has gone wrong, I think first with 9th of May, one thing that probably surprisingly will bring all Pakistanis together is 9th May 2023 is now a black day, not just for the military, the army, but it's also for the PTI. It's black day for PTI because Imran Khan got arrested, and a black day for the army because what happened at military installations, at the GHQ, at the Corps Commander's office in Lahore, at the Askari Towers in Lahore, at barracks in Mardan, at an FC fort in Chaktara, at an FC school at military barracks in Mardan. So all these places were torched, they were attacked. Protests and riots started first. They started out as peaceful protests, but people got angered, they got violent. And it is also, PTI is also alleging that some miscreants joined their ranks and they actually instigated the violence, that they actually breached the gates and attacked these places. But nevertheless, this was unprecedented. Even in its press release yesterday, the ISPR said that what the enemy could not accomplish in 75 years, this political group, this party under the garb of politics has been able to do in a few days. So what's gone wrong with the army is that Pakistan has for long been a national security state. And the military has long been accused of expropriating all of the resources, having all of the power and getting all of the decisions bureaucratically or judicially made so that they would support the army, support the military establishment's interests. So it cannot sustain for so long because we have the example of 1971. What happened, then we have different periods of military rule before and after that. So there has always been a civil-military imbalance in Pakistan, and the GHQ being attacked is a symbol of the PTI protesters actually attacking what they feel is the actual power center in Pakistan. And that goes to show that even the people know that the power belongs to the army and that the army power center or the core of the army's power is at the general headquarters. It's not at the parliament. It's not at the prime minister's office. It's not the Supreme Court. So that this is what was a symbol of what the PTI did. And it is ironic because a few years ago, the PTI was the premier defender of the Pakistani army and the sort of muscular nationalism that PTI and Imran Khan was created to represent, the sort of hybrid face of the muscle of the military machine, the establishment at the back end. So, but the PTI, since the last year, they've expropriated the very same narrative that the Pashtun Tahfuz movement used to use, that the Baloch separatists used to use, that to some extent, even the TTP, every so-called quote-unquote anti-Pakistan element, anti-Pakistan army element, those narratives had been co-opted more or less by the PTI, and that co-opting snowballed. So it's not just PTI supporters and Imran Khan's admirers in Pakistan, it's a huge community of expatriate Pakistanis living and born in the UK, the US, the Canada, and they are supporting Imran Khan's narratives. They are even guiding and directing PTI supporters on the ground in Islamabad and in Lahore. I'm sure you heard of this retired Army Major Adil Raja and another vlogger Heather Mehdi. They had a live YouTube transmission on that entire case, and they said some things that could be construed as illegal. For instance, Heather Mehdi actually asked the PTI supporters to direct themselves to an army general's office. So again, this is all unprecedented, but this was simmering. This was brought to a boiling point by the military's mistakes over a period of decades, then the military's latest hybrid experiment that actually imploded and blew up in their own face.
But Shamresh, tell me something. There has been a lot of rumors in Pakistan and on social media that the army itself is divided on the fate of Imran Khan. There are many who are saying that there is a split within the army and within the top brass, and on decision on how to deal with Imran. There's a very big faction of army which is backing Imran Khan, and they want Imran Khan to be to be in the forefront of politics and to be the prime minister. But it's the Chinese pressure basically which is keeping Imran Khan away from Pakistani politics. How true are those rumors, and what is your your views on foreign interference vis-a-vis the Chinese or the Americans who are trying to meddle with the power centers in Pakistan? How do you see them?
Rumors of some factionalism or fracturing of the Pakistan military, I have been hearing that for quite some time now, but they haven't materialized so far. What I have heard is there are some serious investigations and inquiries going on regarding serving and retired military officers, and including general rank officers. That is one thing that is going on. And you have to understand that Imran Khan's popularity started in 1992 when he won the World Cup. And then he's also done some legitimate charitable work. Chaukat Khanum Hospital, you may like or hate Imran Khan, but Chaukat Khanum Hospital is a very good cancer research and cancer hospital that does at least 70% of patients get free treatment over there. So he has this kind of messianic image that was given steroids, that was boosted by the military establishment over the past 10 years. So there was this kind of soft spot that was created, that was manufactured, and at the expense of other democratic political parties like the Pakistan People's Party, like the Pakistan Muslim League Noon, which were excoriated as being corrupt and being anti-Pakistan. So Imran Khan being liked and Imran Khan having voters or sympathizers or admirers in different institutions in Pakistan or different aspects of civil society or different social classes in Pakistan, I don't think that is an aberration or something that should be considered unusual. Imran Khan does have support across Pakistani segments and societies. Some of that support has been manufactured, it has been deliberately cultivated, but some of that support is natural because of what Imran Khan has said and what Imran Khan's appeal is similar to what Donald Trump's appeal was in the United States and other populist, nationalist leaders that sometimes are represented by popular will or a popular sense of disillusionment, or sometimes they are created and manufactured and cultivated the way that the Pakistani establishment has cultivated Project Imran Khan for that hybrid regime. Now, coming to the foreign intervention part, that also comes to not just what the military wants or what Pakistan's fair weather allies want. The bigger issue with Imran Khan is what Imran Khan's government track record has been. So if you are going towards rumors regarding fracturing in the Pakistan army, there have also been rumors that Imran Khan promised the Saudis that he would not join the other Islamic organization in Malaysia, but he was going to do that anyway and then backed off again. There were some deals that were supposed to happen, own a petrochemical refinery in Gwadar that never materialized. There were some other promises that Imran Khan and his government made to the Chinese that he had to back off from. And a lot of people justified that as U-turns. So Pakistan's international allies and friends, they deal with Pakistan. They do not deal with General Bajwa or Imran Khan or the civilians or the military. They deal with Pakistan. But during the Imran Khan government, there was a lot of concerns and a lot of how I would say they did not appreciate the kind of dealings that they had with the Pakistani state under the Imran Khan regime. So that was one aspect of it pre-2022. Since April 2022, everyone inside and outside Pakistan knows what is the reason for the instability. It's not just Imran Khan's narrative or his desire to precipitate elections before they are due in October this year. It is this entire lack of restoring economic stability, restoring political stability is solely due to Imran Khan's desire to return to power, either through elections or through some other means, which means that the establishment starts supporting him again. So the international indications or international nudging Pakistan towards either apprehending Imran Khan or letting him go or working towards some quote-unquote political stability, as Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang said last weekend in Islamabad. I think that has to be viewed in the context of Imran Khan's government as well, and the situation that Pakistan has been witnessing since he was removed in a vote of no confidence last year.
But Shamresh, he was removed in a constitutional way, which was a vote of no confidence. But if you look at Imran's narrative, to a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. Imran is very okay with him either not being in power, but then army using martial law. He wants either the army to take over, or he thinks that he is the best fit for Pakistan. I mean, what kind of a narrative in a democracy is that when Pakistan claims to be a democracy? How can Imran either, bat for the martial law and then attacks the same army and says that, the army is colluding with the foreign powers? I mean, where is the dichotomy there, and what is Imran's narrative? Because it's very confusing. It looks like that he wants to, he wants to be a parallel institution to the army, and wants to rule as a soft dictator in colluding with the army. So how do you see that kind of a narrative of Imran Khan?
Well, Muneeb, you refer to that as a dichotomy. I kind of unfortunately see it more as a hypocrisy. You see, like I just mentioned, that Imran Khan and the PTI were the biggest of the army, the military establishment, the traditional nationalist Pakistani Islam kind of narrative. So, and they built that up ever since in Lahore. And that is the kind of narrative that Imran Khan was building and taking forward. But what happened to that was Imran Khan thought that he was the perfect fit and everything was hunky-dory in 2021, leading up to 2022. I believe that the first fracturing within the hybrid regime, with the face as Imran Khan, as Project Imran Khan, and the military being all in all running everything at the back end, the first fracturing happened sometime in October 2021 when the army chief wanted a new DGISI take the place of General Faiz Hamid, who was completing his tenure, because the DGISI position is a 3-year tenure position, and General Faiz Hamid was completing his tenure sometime in October or November. Imran Khan resisted and wanted General Faiz to continue for reasons that have been surmised and rumored by everyone ever since then. That did not happen, and I believe that is where the fracture started happening. And we see that Imran Khan exercised restraint, but then did not exercise it. He went one step forward and 2 steps back. The same thing that he said to India in 2018, you take 1 step towards us, we'll take 2 steps towards you. So Imran Khan sometimes takes 1 step aggressively towards the military, then he backs off and says, no, this is my military and we support them. We care about the soldier. To turn back on that narrative, and a lot of detractors of Imran Khan are saying that his sole purpose of this entire narrative is not Hakiki, it's not democracy, it's not ending the system of, it's just so that he returns to power either through elections, which he believes he will win because he is really popular, or through the same way that he was installed in power in 2018 through a wink and a nod from Rawalpindi and the few generals who are referred to as the military establishment. And one thing with the elections, so if people think that elections are going to solve anything in Pakistan, my question is, what if elections happen, elections take place, and Imran Khan does not win those elections? So then we will return to the same situation we did in 2013, 2014, when Imran Khan carried out a rally and a dharna in Islamabad for 124 days. So I don't see any way out of it. And basically at that point in time, he would attack the army when he wants to pursue an anti-establishment and populist narrative, but then he would defend the army when he feels that he would be able to extract concessions, or he will be able to get some relief from the government or from the judiciary. So that is what I think Imran Khan's modus operandi is going to be. But I would not make any predictions or judgments on that, because Imran Khan is known to go back on his word very frequently and to actually, not consider that a bad thing.
Many are comparing, on a lighter note, many are comparing Imran Khan with Donald Trump. They are saying, he's behaving exactly how Donald Trump behaved, after he was taken out of power. So you're right, the populist narrative he has created in Pakistan is something which has made, has spread a lot of not only euphoria, but at the same time, what it has done, Shamrez, is that, in our opinion, is that he has gone ahead and he has galvanized and he has given that sanctity to violence for people to turn up on the streets and, to hold the stage hostage all the time. So how do you see what happens? What happens if tomorrow Imran Khan in, High Court, Islamabad High Court sends him to jail, or, says that he has to be arrested? In that case, what happens to Pakistan? Where does Pakistan go from here now?
That will be a cycle of violence that Pakistan has been stuck in for the better part of the last decade, because these kind of rallies and mob violence, this mob violence previously happened only in blasphemy incidents that people were riled up. They got so angry that they took the law into their own hands. Again, when this happened politically, would be Nawaz Sharif's long march to restore the judges, that was 2009. Then Imran Khan's rally, Imran Khan's dharna in 2014, which went by mostly peacefully, except for, I think, 31st September 2014, when Imran Khan and the Pakistan Awami Tehreek of Maulana Qadri, Tahirul Qadri, they actually attacked the parliament gates and the PTV building. So the violence, the level or the modicum of violence has been slowly being raised in Pakistan. It is political violence as well. There's also this religious aspect of violence. But what Imran Khan's followers have done, I think they've taken a page out of the TLP's book when Imran Khan was in government. So the TLP the Tehreek-e-Labbaik used to take out protest every 6 to 8 months. And we used to see similar scenes. The Imran Khan government had to block internet for 4 to 6 hours on 16th of April 2021, and they had to unleash police and paramilitary to control the situation because Tehreek-e-Labbaik were rioting. They actually injured police officers. So this kind of violence is mostly deemed acceptable by Pakistan, very unfortunately, and that's very sad that Pakistan considers itself a democracy, because the democracies value life. But unfortunately, the value of Pakistani life is in front of all of us. If Pakistani lives are valued, Pakistan would take a firm stance against terrorism and against extremism, religious extremism and political extremism. Pakistan fails to do that. And if tomorrow Islamabad High Court orders that Imran Khan be jailed or Imran Khan is arrested again, and you don't carry him or you don't accost him and grab his clothes and push him into a vehicle, but take him properly and with respect, but he is still arrested. So yeah, we can see a return to this violence. And I believe since the 10th of May, Article 245 of the Constitution has been enforced in Punjab, in KP, and in Balochistan, which means the armed forces are on the streets. They are acting in aid of civil power. And with Imran Khan's narrative, the PTI protesters will be actually hurling slogans and insults at these soldiers who are armed and on the streets. So the situation could escalate in any condition. If Imran Khan is released, then it is a victory for the PTI and a case of the military not actually deconflicting, but having lost once again. And if Imran Khan is arrested, then we could see not just clashes and scuffles, but we could see violence erupt once more.
Shamrez, how real are the chances of state of emergency being, implemented in Pakistan in case violence escalates? Because we are seeing army in Islamabad, we are seeing army in KP, as you said, in other cities of Pakistan as well. But if the violence escalates, and what has really been troubling is the protesters who have been brandishing AK-47s and other firearms and coming into the crowds and firing openly. What happens if such confrontation happens and violence breaks out with Pakistani army? How real is the chance of state of emergency being declared in Pakistan in coming days if Imran is arrested indeed?
These cases of violence and actually people attacking the military or the law enforcement or government installations with weapons, with semi-automatic weapons and other things, this has set a very dangerous precedent. So this could erupt anytime. Terrorist groups have been doing this since decades. Now that a political party or the followers of a former prime minister are doing it, that is very dangerous. First of all, Pakistan, as you know, Pakistan is more or less a free weapon society. It has been since the days of the Afghan jihad against the Soviet Union. And many people have weapons, and deweaponization drives have not really worked in Pakistan. So this will represent a serious threat to internal security and to the security of law enforcement officials and military officials on the streets. So with Article 245, more or less, the military is already on the streets. When people talk about emergency, whether it's a constitutional emergency or some other emergency situations like martial law, in my estimation, there would have to be certain triggering points or certain kind of thresholds that need to be breached for that to happen. For an emergency, in my understanding, and given precedent of the Musharraf emergency against Chief Justice Iftikhar Chaudhry, if the Supreme Court gives certain decisions that continue to exacerbate the law and order situation according to the beliefs of the powers that be, the government or the military establishment, I believe that would make an emergency more likely. Secondly, a financial emergency by the end of June seems more likely than an emergency due to the political or terrorism situation. So I believe that the emergency requires either the Supreme Court and the government and military establishment being at loggerheads severely, and a financial situation, Pakistan actually either nearing default or having gone past the point of default, that could trigger an emergency. And if the situation escalates, an emergency and Article 245, Section 144 are insufficient to control all of this, then I believe extra constitutional conditions like open, overt martial law, then that could be possible. But yes, emergency is still, I would say, it's a constitutional provision, but it signifies that the situation is really out of control and that the law and order situation and conditions on the ground cannot be run according to the constitution and the law. So emergency would be just one step removed from martial law, and then there would actually not be any difference between emergency and martial law. And I believe the military already being on the streets, this is perhaps the maximum show of force that these rioters and PTI protesters and everyone who has an axe to grind with the Pakistani military, this is the most show of force that they would get, I believe.
Shimris, you talked about economic emergency. Today, the dollar has broken the 300 rupee mark in Pakistan. Pakistan is quickly, in next 2 months, Pakistan has a $3.7 billion loan, which they have to give, foreign money, which they have to pay off. The debt of $3.7 billion, and IMF loan, I don't see the conditions, the political conditions in Pakistan. IMF is going to actually, release the first tranche or the second tranche. In that condition, what happens if violence escalates and the economic impact also kind of doubles the amount of violence on the street? What chaos will Pakistan go through? And, how is establishment going to prepare itself to, corner itself from the security collapse and the economic collapse at the same time? What is the future of Pakistan when it comes to the economics and the security, internal security? It seems like, it's nosediving, and it's nosediving very sharply.
You're very, very accurate on that. Yeah, the situation for the past 5 years since the hybrid regime was put into place and the Riyasat-e-Mahmida was established, the economics nosediving and the governance problems and the state failures, they started happening at that point in time, but people were not either not pointing it out, or it was not in their interest to point it out, or they were being told to, promote a positive image of Pakistan for a few months and then see how Pakistan will rise and shine and become a superpower. That never happened. So this is a lesson for Pakistan that delusions don't sell, and you can do all your whataboutery and you can do all your recall history after April 2022 and ignoring everything you've done before that. But this kind of hypocrisy and these kind of delusions don't actually work. So Pakistan can talk about all of its economic progress and it being the only Muslim nuclear power in the world and being connected to the Muslim Ummah. But at the end of the day, that does not help Pakistan in its internal security problems, in its political problems, in its economic problems. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia are always considered fair weather allies, but Saudi Arabia is also being seen as hesitant in bailing out Pakistan. China's bailout to Pakistan happened only once Pakistan returned the money that was again given to Pakistan or rolled over to Pakistan. So there's the kind of economic collapse that Pakistan has already witnessed, the kind of governance collapse, and also the lack of legitimacy and credibility. So Pakistan as a dysfunctional state has been known during the war on terror days, the Musharraf days, then the return to democracy, the Zardari regime, Nawaz Sharif regime. So Pakistan has always been a dysfunctional democracy, but it had a sort of legitimacy, it had some credibility in the international community. People stopped trusting Pakistan after the Osama bin Laden raid in Abbottabad, but there was some kind of credibility and legitimacy which has completely gone out of the window. And the kind of common denominator that the Pakistani identity was founded on, which was the Pakistan Army, now that also does not have the credibility and legitimacy that it has. So I'm at pains to find anything that would be able to unite whatever Pakistani citizens there are, because again, there are Pakistani citizens, but there is no common unifying Pakistani identity. If it's Islam, Islam is also becoming more divisive than something that would unite people. I mean, a Chinese engineer was accused of blasphemy in Pakistan, and then a few weeks ago, a Deobandi cleric was lynched on the accusations of blasphemy. So Islam has also become very divisive. And then this final common denominator that we love the Pakistan Army, we support the Pakistan Army, that has also come under serious threat to its legitimacy, if not its operational capabilities and capacity, due to Imran Khan's narrative and due to Imran Khan co-opting the narrative that the Pashtun Tahfuz movement and Baloch separatists and previous segments of society and previous, how would I say, organizations or groups who have suffered the excesses of the Pakistani military establishment or the Pakistani army directly. Imran Khan just co-opted those narratives. So previously he had ready-made narratives built, the Islam narrative and the Pakistani nationalism narrative and the corruption narrative. And then when his government went out of power, then he used all the narratives that the anti-Pakistan and anti-state elements used to use, and that is exactly what he did. And he's going to continue doing that till his ends is achieved, which I believe is him returning back to power, and then maybe.
Shamriz, last question. You said, there are a lot of quick divides which are happening within the Pakistani society, whether it's separatism they're facing from one end or religious extremism on another end. And with dwindling Pakistani army, image and reputation, where do you see from tomorrow Pakistan moving forward to? Where do you see Imran Khan? Do you think Imran Khan is going to be, there will be some kind of, deal between the administration, between the establishment and Imran Khan, or do you think army will try its might to put Imran behind bars? Where do you see Pakistan going forward from tomorrow morning? How do you see Pakistan and how do you see Imran's politics from tomorrow? What do you predict for next, let's say next 2 months or 3 months for Pakistan?
People call me a pessimist, but I don't see any improvement or anything positive happening. So tomorrow, if Imran Khan gets released, that would be a victory for the PTI and a serious loss to the army and to their prestige with what they suffered on May 9th and 10th and how they had to come on the streets and show of force. And if Imran Khan remains arrested, then the 9th and 10th May fiascos are going to continue. It's going to be continuously black days. And I think in a period of 24 to 48 hours, the dollar fell by another 5 rupees. So it crossed the 300 rupee mark. And I only see things going down worse from here, because if the definition of stability was Imran Khan and his narrative being put out of the picture, and Imran Khan and his leaders and his party being incarcerated, that definition of stability was deemed illegal by the Chief Justice today. And if people believe that Imran Khan being out on the streets and running this so-called democratic populist movement for Hakiki Azadi, if people believe that that is stability, then they really need to evaluate their definition of stability in terms of April 2022 up till today and tomorrow. Because, we probably will have to redefine stability in order to term Pakistan as a stable state or a functional state and not a failed state or a failed nation. So I don't think anything positive would come out from tomorrow or the day after. Serious de-escalation is required. And the military, you have to understand, also does not take Imran Khan as a serious interlocutor. There have been always mediations and backdoor negotiations going on. But whenever Imran Khan or his interlocutors agreed to something, within a few hours, if not a day or two, Imran Khan turned back from that. So the military establishment and the PDM government, the Pakistan Muslim League Noon, the People's Party, other parties, other stakeholders, they do not consider Imran Khan or PTI as a serious negotiator, serious mediator. So it has been reported for quite some months that the military is no longer interested in mending its fences with Imran Khan or negotiating or dealing with him again, because they have been bitten every time they had extend their hand of a favor or extend their hand of peace, a gesture of goodwill to Imran Khan, that it's okay, it's fine, you can have your grievances and you can say it, but we can, mend fences and move forward. They agreed to shake hands and be friends again, but Imran Khan went back and said something aggressive or said something that was considered as him having gone back on that gesture. So that has happened again and again. And in my estimation, I don't believe that the military establishment or the incumbent government would even be willing to negotiate with Imran Khan. I believe if the judiciary continues to show what the government calls unnecessary relief or undue relief to Imran Khan, then I believe that the Parliament and the incumbent government will try to introduce some legislation or try to pressure the Supreme Court and the judicature to actually try to restore some kind of balance and stop showing what they believe, what they call is this excessive favor or a tilt of the superior courts in favor of Imran Khan. So they will try to actually challenge the courts and try to pressure the courts to make sure that Imran Khan stays where he is and Imran Khan doesn't get any more political capital or it doesn't get more popular from anything that the judiciary does or the government does or does.
So I think what you are saying, Shamrez, is that Pakistan is going to continue in the flux. It's going to stay in the flux for the times to come. It's going to be very, very difficult for Pakistan to, take itself out to some sort of stability. The instability will continue in Pakistan. But saying that, going forward, do you think that Nawaz will be somebody who will be coming back to Pakistan, or do you think that Nawaz Sharif for now is going to stay in London and Shahbaz will continue the show? Because if Imran Khan gets released, the political capital of both the other parties, PPP and PMNL, going to shrink considerably. I mean, what legitimacy will they be left into to stay into the power then in Pakistan? What will be the next step for those two parties? What will happen?
Well, what I've heard from sources inside PMLN, they've always maintained that Nawaz Sharif will return, but they have some sort of conditionalities or some preconditions for Nawaz Sharif returning. One is that Nawaz Sharif will return to lead the election campaign for Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. So for that, the election date has to be announced, and then Nawaz Sharif will come. Another thing that I've been hearing is that Nawaz Sharif has been demanding from the incumbent military establishment that some political capital or some kind of level playing field be created for them, because they believe that there was this entire campaign that started from the Dawn Leaks episode, and then the disqualification of Nawaz Sharif, then the incarceration of Maryam Nawaz, then the pre-poll rigging and the kind of state oppression they faced before the 2018 elections. Then the day of the 2018 elections, the result transmission system was showing errors, and then Imran Khan winning. So Nawaz Sharif's point is also that this entire, our political capital has been eroded deliberately by the military establishment, judicial establishment, by desire to bring in this hybrid regime and to bring projects that we deal with this monster of their own creation. Nawaz Sharif also does not feel any need or any urgency to return to Pakistan, because again, he will lose whatever political capital legitimacy that he has remaining, again, which is very little. So Zardari, Nawaz Sharif, I believe they're all demanding the military establishment that battle, because this is a monster of their own creation, and Imran Khan was brought onto the political mainstream at the expense of the political capital and vote bank of these erstwhile democratic parties. So I think Nawaz Sharif wants some kind of favor if he doesn't want the kind of the field like they did for actually stands a fighting chance against Imran Khan and this horde of violent supporters who Imran Khan thinks that will vote him into power and that will maintain him into power even if there's a coup against his future prime ministership. Because I believe a lot of PTI people and a lot of Imran Khan supporters think that they have actually realized the July 2016 Turkey moment when the coup against Turkish President Erdogan was failed. So things went to that point, but they did not, the PTI supporters were not able to overcome that or breach that. Nowhere did military troops surrender. They just backed off or hid under desks. I believe everyone's seen videos regarding that, because the soldiers were ordered to de-escalate. They were not given authorization to use lethal force, and they were just told to back off until Article 245 was announced. So I don't see things improving. There would need to be serious de-escalation, serious goodwill, gestures of goodwill. Everyone will have to back off from their absolutist positions and stances, and they will have to come together to agree on certain basic rules. And on things they don't agree, they will at least have to agree to disagree on them. I believe a lot of problem with Pakistan is not just this extremism and terrorism and this kind of Pakistan studies mindset that has been forced and inculcated. It is also this intolerance and lack of agreement, the inability to disagree on things and agree to disagree respectfully. So there is, unless and until there's a little bit of respect and a give and take that comes back into Pakistani politics, I don't see any future or any good things in the next 3 days, 3 months, 3 weeks, or 3 years. So those are my two. Yeah.
Right, Shamli. So what we can expect from Pakistan is the stalemate, whether it is the political stalemate or it is, the economical stalemate, which we are seeing in Pakistan happening. I think that is what is going to continue. Thank you very much for being with us.
For such fine news breaks and video features from ground on your mobile phones, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The New Indian, by clicking on the bell icon. Also, follow us on the social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and Co.